Thank you very much, Louise. I love coming to Thruxton. We've said it already this weekend, Tim. It's fast, it's flowing, it's dramatic, and racing cars look fast. Even on TV, they look fast here.
Well, that's because they are. They're averaging over 100 miles an hour around the lap, and that's with two tight second-gear corners in it. So they really are travelling at speed, and you're right. When we see those close-ups, particularly in HD, we're going to see some real driving on the limit.
Yeah, looking forward to it very much. Gordon Shedden will be starting from pole position in the Honda. Consecutive pole position for him because he was in the same place here last year, but it didn't last because, as we've heard, tyres are an issue. But let's just look at the rest of the grid as well, because Andrew Jordan up there on the front row and Matt Neal also well up. And Jordan and Matt Neal are two drivers who've been in the top 4 in qualifying at every round so far this year, so they've been very, very strong. As we've seen, Chilton is on that second row as well. Then Jason Plato's the fastest of the normally aspirated cars in his Chevrolet, and an outstanding effort by Tom Onslow Cole has put the Volkswagen Golf in 6th place. Well done to him. The team were really impressed with his driving yesterday. Jeff Smith, as we've heard, is on row 4 with Matt Jackson. Row 5, Tom Borman in the Seat, and championship leader James Nash with some work to do. Alex McDowell, who's been suffering a very nasty virus this week, but he's there on row 6 with Tony Gillam alongside in the Vauxhall Vectra. Row 7 is Paul O'Neill in his Chevrolet, and Rob Collard. The two of them had a coming together in the last race at Donington. Let's hope they keep it clean. Andy Neate is next up on row 8 with Liam Griffin. Nick Foster and another BMW's on row 9 with John George in the second of the Chevrolet Cruises, and then Frank Rathel in his NGTC Toyotas on row 10 with another new car, the Audi of Rob Austin alongside, and at the back is Chris James in his Chevrolet Lacetti. So that's how they line up on the grid. Cars already making their way around. Let's grab a very quick word with Andy Jordan. There he is. He's starting on the front row of the grid. Andy, it's Ben. Qualifying's gone well for you this year. You're in the top 4 once again, but can you now take your second win of the season?
Fingers crossed, mate. But anything can happen here. We know the situation with tyres, and even just warming them here, just trying to be ever so smooth so we don't take too much out of them even on a warm-up lap, as silly as it sounds. But the guys did a great job yesterday. Great circuit to drive round and drive as quick as we can. This was hooked up mega yesterday, so we'll see what we can do. But now we're up there in the championship, just need to get some good solid points and see where that gets us. But you know me, I won't back down. I'll be going for it.
Great, well, we'll enjoy the show. Thanks, Andrew. So that's Andrew getting ready, warming those tyres up, as he said. I know you've been talking to Dunlop as well, Tim. They're very happy, Dunlop, that the teams were able to do so much dry running yesterday, and they did a lot of laps, no problems at all. So Dunlop feel they've done everything they can do now. It's down to the drivers to behave a little bit.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. All the top teams did endurance runs, race simulation. So they've run a race distance on the tyres to make sure their race setup is conservative enough to make the tyres last. Now, whether they've then thought, oh, maybe we could actually gain a little bit more performance by pushing the boundaries a little bit, we don't know. And also in the race, they need to stay off the curbs for the first 5 laps, and in the heat of battle quite often they don't. The reason for that is if they don't stay off the curbs before the tyres are fully up to pressure, it can put a weakness in the sidewall, and that then becomes something, the failure point later in the race. But if the drivers are sensible, the tyres are more than up to the job. But you can hear every comment from every driver on the grid was about tyre conservation. So that is always the name of the game. So nobody's going to be 100% confident they can do this, but the first race will tell everybody a lot.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating, and you can bet they're racing drivers at the end of the day. They're still going to be pushing hard no matter what they say to their teams and what they say to us on their interviews. Gordon Shedden then lines up on pole position. It's a hat-trick for Honda this year. They've won every qualifying session. Matt Neal's had 2 pole positions. Now Gordon Shedden's got 1. Remember, Matt Neal's carrying more ballast. He starts third. He's on 36 kilos of ballast, but the heaviest car is the black Vauxhall Vectra of James Nash. Starting 10th, he's on the maximum 45 kilos. All set for the first race of the day here at a sunny Thruxton with the wind blowing across this former airfield track, or still used as an airfield. Who's going to fly here at Thruxton today? Is it going to be Shedden or Jordan off the front row, or are we going to see some of the normally aspirated cars look after their tyres and come to the fore at the end? lights out, away we go, and off the front row, Shedden gets away pretty well. Matt Neal is going to be challenging. Plato's trying to get alongside Chilton as they go through the first corner. Watch out for Tom Onslow-Cole in the Golf. He's had a very good start, but up front is Shedden from Jordan, Matt Neal, and it's going to be 3 abreast, I think, into the complex for the first time. Let's hope they all get through here. Chilton in front, Jackson trying to go around the outside, and Plato losing out a bit.
Yeah, Plato a little bit cautious. Oh, there's a little bit of contact with Onslow-Cole. He gets pushed wide but stays on the track. A very even start by everybody at the front.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, all through the complex first time round.
Gordon Shedden certainly putting the hammer down straight away. He's already opened up a little bit of a gap over Andrew Jordan as we watch the whole field. There's the Golf of Tom Onslow-Cole under pressure from championship leader James Nash. Jeff Smith behind him in the second Pertec card obviously didn't get off the line so well.
No, not so well for Jeff, but certainly at the front it was all very even, and Shedden will be very pleased to have got the start away for... Oh, oversteering through Church on the first lap. Did you see the black lines left by the back of that Honda?
Exciting stuff as they get now to the fastest section of track, climbing up the hill. Shedden with the advantage. It's Honda's first and third, split by the Pertec Vauxhall of Andrew Jordan. Then it's Tom Chilton. He's running in 4th place in the Ford. 5th place another Ford, that of Matt Jackson. Battles further down the field. You've got Frank Rathel in the distinctive orange and black NGTC Toyota. But as they come across the line, it's Shedden with a lead of just under a second from Jordan, Neal and Chilton. As I say, Jackson up there, but Jordan coming under pressure now from Matt Neal, and he loves the tight approach into the complex, but he's not got the space there.
No, Jordan braked very late, missed the first apex, but managed to hold on to the position, and through the first corner and through the complex I noticed not one of the drivers went over the chicane curbs either, apart from the BMWs, who aren't as hard on their tyres anyway, so they can probably get away with it.
Are they behaving then? They're actually doing what they were asked.
So far, not a single one hit the curbs at the chicane. Impressive.
Good stuff through the right-hander at Goodwood. And look at the cars bouncing and bobbling at high speed, cornering at 110, 120 miles an hour, building it up to more than that 130 maybe on the approach to Church Corner. A little lift and Andy Neat's off. Andy Neat, has he made contact or has he got away with it? I think there's somebody else off as well, so there might have been an incident between 2 cars. We'll try and catch that later, but up front, Gordon Shedden, where he was last year, Tim, leading this race. He's been in this situation 3 times in the past and had punctures. Let's
watch through the chicane. They normally go over that curb like Chilton. Chilton, Jackson and Plato all went over the curb. The front 2 didn't.
But they didn't sort of bang it. There is a way of going over the curb that sometimes doesn't look quite so bad as others. The Golf, by the way, is running in 8th place. Behind him is James Nash in 9th. Jeff Smith is in 10th. Collard is in 11th place. Another home track visit here for Rob Collard. This Thruxton circuit, very much his home track, but he's got a bit of work to do as we go back up with the leaders. On board with Andrew Jordan. He's in 2nd, looking back at Matt Neal in 3rd, and Tom Chilton's close behind.
Yeah, Chilton's very close. His group are all sort of ganging up a little bit behind Jordan, but I do think Jordan's just keeping his powder dry at the moment. He's just being cautious. He's doing enough just to stay in front of Matt Neal and hold on to this 2nd place, keep the points. Shedden, as we saw last year, streaked away and then had problems at the end of the race, but Jordan is just driving very, very neatly at the moment.
Jordan's carrying 18 kilos of ballast. Matt Neal's got 36 kilos. Now, this is the onboard view. Great view. Left foot braking. Now he's out of Church Corner, up onto the straight as he comes towards the chicane.
Yeah, but he was actually just controlling the attitude of the car all the way through the corner with his left foot just dragging on the brake. Now he's braking for the chicane with his left foot off the throttle completely, down through the gears. Look at the modulation on the brake pedal. An awful lot of feel and control going into that.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating view of Andrew Jordan at work as he's there in 2nd place in the blue, yellow and orange car. Through they come then, 3 laps completed. We're on to lap 4 now out of 16. Matt Neal still chases him. Then the 2 Fords from different teams. We've got Tom Chilton in the Aon car, of course, and Matt Jackson in the Airwaves car. And up the inside in Matt Neal. Matt Neal, a late lunge up the inside, slight contact. He's taken 2nd place. Hondas are running 1-2.
Yeah, that was a great move. Matt Neal set that up through the very first corner by holding a tighter line and getting a good run on the approach to the complex and diving up the inside. Great overtake.
So Matt Neal confident that he can look after those front tyres and still move up. He's into second position then, and chasing after his teammate. Take another look at this, Tim.
Watch this. Max hold it to the inside and then releases the car to the right-hand side, gives himself a nice straight braking line into the apex.
And then Jordan had to concentrate on not letting anyone else through. It didn't happen, and Chilton is still next in the blue and white Ford Focus, chased by the red and yellow car, the Airwaves machine, and Plato's still there. So Jason Plato in sixth. There he is in the Silver Line car, and now we're beginning to see something from Jason Plato. Now the turbo cars are on the rev limiter here. I wonder if that's going to help Plato.
Well, Plato was trying to go around the outside. He's trying to go around the outside. He must have this corner for sure, but there's more contact there. Oh, he's going to could lose 2 places here to Boardman.
Yeah, Boardman goes around the outside of Jackson. Jackson really fighting that hard, when perhaps if he'd given the place up, he could have lost just 1 place. He's now lost 2 places. That was really hard physical racing at this early stage.
Yeah, that all came from Jason Plato's speed through Church. He carried the speed through enough to gain the momentum on the run up Woodham Hill to the chicane, and very brave to outbrake round the outside, because you're always frightened of closing the door knowing the car is on your inside, but he did a really good job.
We'll keep an eye on lap times now that he's got into some clear air. This is going to be very interesting. Is Plato going to be able to close up to the turbo cars ahead of him by looking after the tyres? He can drive more flat out without worrying so much, whereas these cars, the turbocharged cars, do have to be more careful about their front tyres. Shedden's lead, by the way, up to 1.5 seconds now, as we're looking at the classification. It's Shedden, Neil, Jordan, then Chilton, followed by Plato now, as we know, then Boardman and Jackson. Onslow Cole in 8th place. Nash, the championship leader, still down in 9th. Smith is in 10th place. Up the hill they come.
Yeah, that turbo reduction has clearly made a difference, because Jason Plato was able to use that reduction in the turbo speed to still stay alongside and even pass Jackson, and we wouldn't have seen that, I don't think, at Donington.
There is the series leader, James Nash. So he hasn't managed to make a lot of progress. Qualified 10th. He said to me yesterday he made a little mistake in qualifying, so he knew where he'd lost the time. He is carrying 45 kilos of ballast, so in a way he's got to be even more careful, and I think he's playing a bit of a waiting game at the moment.
Yeah, definitely doing that. I mean, there's several people who are clearly driving well within themselves at the moment. The Hondas don't appear to have any worries. They are absolutely flying. Although it was Matt Jackson on lap 2 that set the fastest lap, interestingly.
Yeah, Plato's just done a reasonably quick lap, but nothing ultra special as yet. It might be this next lap that could be good. On board with Alex McDowell, he's down in 12th place in the second Silver Line Chevrolet. He's been feeling very poorly, but he's feeling a little bit better, and when you get into the action, into the race, then obviously that's going to make you feel better. And just behind him, by the way, is Paul O'Neill in his Chevrolet, so there's going to be a close battle between those two, and they've got Collard just up ahead. You can see the white BMW of Rob Collard.
Yeah, Andy, Alex McDowell feeling a lot better even than he did yesterday. The strong antibiotics are really helping with that. Oh, in fact, Collard gets wide there, and that nearly flicked him across the road. Is it going to give enough impetus to McDowell? You can see this on board now. McDowell, no, Collard's covered the inside, but Alex is certainly feeling better. And as I said to him and his father, there's nothing like adrenaline to get you well quick.
Absolutely right. No, it certainly helps, doesn't it? And he's on his way. These both are non-turbo cars, of course, normally aspirated cars, so very evenly matched with their 2-litre non-turbo engines. Through Allard they come. Lovely shot of that BMW, the back end of the car, just sliding through the corner. Look at the leaders. You've got Shedden, Neil and Jordan, and that gap has come down again from first to second to just under 1 second. Then Boardman further back here, he's down in 6th, from Jackson, Onslow Cole. Another little group, there's McDowell, who we've been watching, and you can see how close Paul O'Neill is behind him in the purple Chevrolet, and Tony Gillam's not far behind in 14th place.
No, they're all very close together, and there's traditionally a drop-off in lap times over the course of the 16-lap race of well over 1.5 seconds. So towards the end of the race, you can often get a big differential between cars of up to half a second. So we'll see what happens at the end.
We'll keep an eye on that, because yeah, we're not even at quite half distance yet. 7 out of 16 laps is what we're on now. Just watching them come through Church Corner, trying not to run too wide. Great onboard view, and what a run that McDowell's got here. Goes to the inside. Look at the view from the onboard camera. Fantastic shot there as you slide past Collard. Now he's got to finish it on the brakes. He should have it.
Yeah, well, you couldn't have had a better view of that than from our onboard cameras. And McDowell gained the advantage. We saw on the previous lap Collard struggled through Church, whether he was a little bit more reticent through there this lap, but McDowell timed it perfectly.
Lovely pass from Alex McDowell. It's put him into 11th. still got a little bit of work to do to get into the points here, but nonetheless the youngster in the second Chevrolet going well. Now he's got to see if he can close up the gap ahead. Last time around, just looking at the lap times, Tim, and Plato really is beginning to make his presence felt.
Yeah, 3/10 of a second quicker than the cars at the front of the field, and half to 3/4 of a second quicker than the car in front of him, which is Chilton.
Yeah, so there is Jason Plato, fastest car on track last time around, and he's beginning to close that gap now to Tom Chilton. This is fascinating, the battle between the turbo cars and the normally aspirated Chevy here, which is a beautifully designed car. It's great shape as well, all for high speed stuff. Somebody clipping the inner curb a bit there.
That was actually Chilton going over the inside of the curb at Church, which is a dangerous thing to do at 110, 115 miles an hour plus. But yeah, as you say, I mean, this is the great thing about touring car racing. It's not just about, you know, one ability, one section of the track. Look at them, no worries over the curbs now.
Yeah,
but Plato's really going for it. But you know, there will be strengths and weaknesses of the different cars on different circuits.
Yeah, absolutely right, and that's what's fun to watch. He overcooked that chicane just a little that time, and his lap time wasn't quite so good. He did a 1:20.1. And he is trying so hard, isn't he, to get on terms with them.
He's trying so hard, and you come up that hill towards the chicane, and there's no particular obvious braking point. You just always think you can go a little bit later and then find yourself struggling to slow the car down. This battle behind with Boardman, Jackson and Onzo Cole. Onzo Cole has now got the car working well. He's picking up pace on the two in front.
Yeah, that's the red and black VW Golf, the AMD Miltech car. What a surge in form this has been from them this weekend, because this car, relatively undeveloped, a small team, and yet he qualified 6th, and he's right in the mix here.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Onzo Cole has brought to this team exactly what they needed. He's got the knowledge of what a good car feels like. So he can say with conviction when something doesn't feel right on the car to change it and make it better. And he's developed that car. I mean, Lehman had developed the engines, and he's pushed them to obviously get good power, and they've done that. But he's really improved the handling of the car.
And he's also mega here at Thruxton. He's had a couple of wins here in the past when he was driving for Vauxhall. Look at Jackson almost pushing Boardman as they come up towards the chicane and through it. It's Seat, Ford and VW. Lovely to see the mix of manufacturers in the British Touring Car Championship, and all fighting hard. And behind them still is championship leader James Nash. Can't quite get on terms, or is he just still looking after those tyres? Onslow Cole, you can see, is really attacking in the third of those three.
Yeah, remember James Nash is carrying maximum ballast as championship leader. He had to do that in qualifying and this first race. Oh, was that Onslow Cole going around the outside? He's poked his nose in. Jackson's given him room, and he'll have the inside for the final part of the complex. But that was a genuine challenge by Onslow Cole now.
And look how it's allowed the Vauxhall to catch them. It's going to become a three-way fight here. Golf going to the outside here, but Jackson's got the best line through the left-hander at Noble. Now they'll turn right through the countryside, just a faint lift off the throttle, maybe a dab of left foot on the brakes, and Nash is right with them.
Yeah, it's coming very close, but Nash, I was going to say, with that 45 kilos, he's got the heaviest car on the grid of the front running cars, and therefore must be extra careful with his tyres.
Up front, Shedden still leads this race. He's got a 1.1 second advantage over his teammate Matt Neal. Plato put in a better lap that time, although it was matched pretty much by the Hondas that are leading, so there's not much difference, and Plato hasn't been able to get in on terms with them anymore. In the background I could see Collard and O'Neill were battling coming up the hill. Let's hope that all stays nice and clean after their problems at Donington last time. And we're now on board with James Nash sitting in behind Tom Onslow Cole as they come across the line. 10 laps completed. We're on lap 11 now.
Yeah, and it's actually Chilton that's picked up the pace behind Jordan. That gap's down to just half a second now. So Chilton's been running a little bit quicker than Jordan. I think that will bring Plato up. Those three will be battling over the the podium place.
Yeah, still got a bit of time in this race left. And up front you can see Jackson really battling with Boardman, but he still couldn't get through. There's Boardman in the black Seat, Jackson in the Airwaves Ford, and then still chased by Onslow Cole in the Golf, and of course now the Vauxhall of James Nash. And Jeff Smith in the white Vauxhall also wants to become involved in all of this, and not too far behind at the moment. McDowell is still in the 11th. O'Neill is currently 12th, ahead of Collard in 13th, Gillam 14th, and Nick Foster, who's currently in 15th.
Yeah, one thing about these shorter wheelbase cars is that they are a little bit more nimble. They can be a little bit more oversteery, which saves the front tyres. Certainly to be fast round here, you have to have the back of the car loose on a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, and you have to be pretty brave through some of those fast corners. Onslow Cole, certainly one of the bravest, and his commitment has impressed the team this weekend. I know they're saying every lap he goes out, his first flying lap, they look at the stopwatch, they can't quite believe how on it he is straight away. But that's the class of Tom Onslow Cole. He is one of the best drivers out there. We've seen it in recent years. And he, as you say, Tim, he's now helping them develop that car. Boardman still leading this little group, though. Good result if Tom could hold on to 6th here. He's had a lot of bad luck at recent events as Tom Boardman. Mechanical woes have been hindering him. And at the moment, he's ahead of Donington Race 3 winner there, Matt Jackson.
Yeah, he's often been mugged, Tom Boardman, at the end of the race, hasn't he? And you feel that if one of these cars gets past, they might all get past. I hope it doesn't happen for Tom's sake, but it does so often happen at the end of the races to him.
He's going to have a teammate, isn't he, next time? Dave Newsham joining that team.
Yeah, Dave Newsham has left the Jeff Steele BMW team. I don't know the exact reasons, but certainly we know that Dave Newsham came from Clio's and was very good as a front-wheel drive car, and then perhaps he fancies himself in a turbocharged car rather than the BMW, and a good car as proven by Tom Boardman.
Boardman still just clinging on by his fingertips to this position, but as you say, it's looking in jeopardy from that car behind of Matt Jackson. Tom Onslow Cole still in 8th, Nash in 9th, Smith in 10th. But what's happening up front, you might ask? Well, I can tell you that Gordon Shedden is still leading this race. And Matt Neal is still in 2nd position. Now remember, when teammates are running up front, sometimes what you'll see is them swap over for a lap, because you get an extra point for leading a race, so you might see them swap over and then swap back again. We have seen it in the past.
Yeah, they've got space to do that because there's nobody challenging them too hard behind, and you know, certainly at the moment they will be running to a pace that is just enough to stay in front of the others, so they won't be racing each other, so they could easily change over and give that extra point. It's those 3 behind, Jordan, Chilton and Plato, that are coming together. Look how close that battle's getting.
Yeah, now this is probably, as you say, the more entertaining part of this, because 3 of them here are Jordan and Chilton in the Ford, and then Jason Plato onto their bootlids virtually. Good lap last time around, but they were all pretty evenly matched actually. 19-1 from the race leader Gordon Shedden. That approaches the fastest lap of the race, so they really have looked after their tyres. Jordan, though, now beginning to use a bit more apex curve, but he can do that. The tyres are fully up to temperature, and the right-hand side tyres are not under as much stress as the left. This is where they're under so much stress, of course. Yet leaders are very close. They may well swap over on this lap.
Well, yeah, this would be an easy place to do it, but you know, the trick here at this circuit is to win the race. Yeah, look, Shedden's left the door wide open for Matt Neal just to slide through. He'll get the point. Be interesting to see, obviously, if he gives the place back. Matt Neal's is higher up in the championship, and they're not leading the championship at the moment, so theoretically he needs all the points that he can get. But from the race point of view, it's clearly Shedden that has won this race on merit. Yeah,
and indeed with Nash down in 9th, Matt Neal will take the lead of the championship, I'm sure, after this race. So even if he does drop back behind, because he's 2nd coming into this. Jordan and Chilton still close, but Plato seems to have dropped back a little bit.
Yeah, Plato hasn't maintained that challenge onto the back after that lap where he went on a little bit too deep into the chicane. I wonder if he flat spotted his tyres a little bit there and has had to be a little bit cautious after that just to get to the end.
Of course, if they pick up any kind of vibration, they feel it straight away, don't they? And they know then they've really got to nurse the tyres.
Yeah, and with a flat spot, it's the driver's worst fear, because you can feel it vibrating, and every time you brake, it tends to lock up on that point. And Neal's dropped back to 2nd, look, so Shedden has gone back in front.
Yeah, so just to remind you, that is because of the point scoring system. If you are lucky enough to get, oh, a bit of a slide from Shedden. If you're lucky enough to run up front like this, you can use the team situations and help you score extra points for both cars. You get that extra bonus for leading a lap. So Matt Neal's scored that extra point, but Shedden has been rightly given back his position, which he earned from getting pole position and from leading the early stages, and he's obviously been quite careful with the car. And it would be nice, for Gordon's point of view, to put some of his bad luck behind him. Meanwhile, what's going on here? Tony Gillam and Collard battling over 12th place here. Collard just ahead of Gillam, and then O'Neill is in there as well. Plato's off. He's hit the barrier at the chicane.
Now that must be a lock-up from the left front. He's gone straight on. You can see the damage on the left front. I did suspect he might have had a problem with the tyre, but he's obviously locked up. Maybe unless there's been any contact, I'm suspecting that he may have had a flat spot and then locked up the tyre and gone straight on. But we didn't think he was close enough to have contact.
Well, what a surprise.
Yeah.
The last one we expected to have a problem was Jason Plato, and he is out of this race after a miserable time at Donington last time. His weekend has not started at all well here at Thruxton. Oh, and look at the damage. Not as bad as when he rolled it at Donington, but nonetheless, it's taken a pretty heavy hit the front corner.
No, surely if he turned that on his roof, the writing would be actually in the right way up. But not that we wish the boys at RML any more work. But well, we need to see what actually happened before we judge it. But my suspicion is that the tyre went because he flat spotted it perhaps earlier, or perhaps in seeking to get maximum performance from the car, they weren't as conservative with the setup as Andrew Jordan goes very deep there. Perhaps they weren't as conservative as the turbocharged car was, because they were thinking they were going to have an advantage here.
It's always possible, of course, it is possible. Just going back to Donington, you know, he had that puncture at Donington. I did check with Dunlop. It was actually just a puncture. There was a flint or a stone or something. It was really bad luck. It wasn't due to trying to be too aggressive on setup. It was just sheer bad luck. But here we don't know the story yet. I don't think we're going to see a replay because we didn't have the camera just there, so we'll have to wait until we can talk to Jason later. Hondas are through though, 1-2, and they're looking mighty impressive. We're on the final lap, Tim, and these two Hondas, you know, they have won at least one race at every event we've been to so far this year. They are looking like the dominant team here.
Yeah, I think that was our feeling at the beginning of the season, wasn't it? They may not have got all the points from Brands, but they certainly look the fastest cars, and they have been quick at all circuits. Brands Indy, a tight, twisty circuit. Donington, a fast-flowing circuit. This, an even faster circuit. So the Honda looks to be the dominant chassis engine combination and driver combination at the moment. It's Jordan in a very secure third place now. It's been a very nice team performance by Honda Racing.
Yep, Gordon Shedden heads them up towards the chicane for the final time, and he is going to come through to take his 16th career win at a venue where he's led several times in the past, only to lose it due to puncture. Shedden holds on to take victory. It's the third win for Honda Racing this year, and he's followed home by his teammate. What a perfect result for Honda Racing. Third place goes to Andrew Jordan, who maintains his championship challenge with useful points there. Tom Chilton is in fourth place. Tom Borman held on to fifth. Good drive that by Borman, who was under pressure throughout from Matt Jackson. Tom Onslow Cole finishes seventh in the AMD Miltech Golf. Then James Nash survived to finish eighth. Jeff Smith was ninth. And Alex McDowell inherited 10th after his teammate Jason Plato went off at the chicane. We're not quite sure what caused it yet. We'll hopefully find out pretty soon. Tony Gillam just outside the points in 11th place. Collard finished in 12th in the end. But Gordon Shedden, race winner here at Thruxton, and he has won here in the past. It is his second ever victory, but it could have been so many more if he hadn't had punctures in the past. He must have been nervous until the checkered flag came out, because so many times he'd been leading races here only for a tyre to let go. Jason making the march down the pit lane and doesn't look too happy at all. We'll try and grab a word with him in a minute when we can to find out what happened there, because we weren't able to spot exactly what occurred. But the big story is, of course, the double race winner from Brands Hatch, who had a miserable time last time at Donington, and is continuing that poor fortune, if you like, by not finishing this first race of the day. And by that, it means he'll start race 2 from the very back, and he's got even more work to do as we go through the remaining 2 races. So Jason Plato, bad start for his day, but for Shedden and Matt Neal, it's been a perfect start to theirs. Wonderful scenes up on the banking, the spectator banking. It's been really popular today. Lovely to see people pouring in from about 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning, and it's a great spot to watch motorsport up on the outside there at the complex, at the chicane, and these guys all having a fantastic time, really soaking up the atmosphere of British touring cars at its best. 2 more of those races still to come, plus all the other action from the support races. Let's confirm the result here then. Gordon Shedden taking the victory by just 0.2 of a second, but it was a controlled win over his teammate Matt Neal. Andrew Jordan was third in the Vauxhall. Tom Chilton, a solid fourth. You know, Tom's not getting the race wins, but he's scoring consistently this year. Tom Borman fought off Matt Jackson and Tom Onslow Cole to hold on to fifth. James Nash finished eighth in the ballasted Vauxhall. Jeff Smith in the points again, impressive in his first season, and Alex McDowell finished in 10th. 11th was Tony Gillam, Rob Collard right behind, and then Paul O'Neill. Liam Griffin, another finish for him. Nick Foster, then Andy Neate, who recovered from an incident earlier. John George finished 17th. Chris James was a lap down, but Jason Plato and Frank Rattle both failed to finish. Now, let's see what it's done in terms of the championship. The series was being led by James Nash, not any longer. He's down to second place as Matt Neal takes over the lead, but Matt Jackson and Andrew Jordan both very much still close behind. Gordon Shedden fifth, but Jason Plato's been pushed back down another position. He's down into sixth place now on 43 points. Tom Chilton 40 points, so he's still close to Plato. Then there's a bit of a gap from them to Paul O'Neill in 8th place, Alex McDowell in 9th position, and Rob Collard in the WSR BMW down in 10th. In the Teams Championship, Honda Racing, well, you know, you've just had a 1-2 finish, so what would you expect? But that they are on top of the points there. Triple Eight Racing with Collins are in second place. They are looking after James Nash, of course, and Tony Gillam. Pertec Racing, Andrew Jordan's team, third. Silverline Chevrolet down in fourth, though, and well, with another result like that for Jason Plato, it's really looking very difficult for the defending champion at the moment to try and get his campaign back on track. Chevrolet only 1 point ahead there of Airwaves Racing. Team Aon not far behind as well. So lots to look for, and Jason Plato has got to pick his season back up. And the Manufacturers Championship, Honda ahead of Chevrolet. So they've managed to open that lead a little bit more with Arena Ford in third place. Thank you very much, Louise. Well, it's disappointing to see that Tom Onslow Cole is not on the grid. We are going to see if we can track down what's going on there, but clearly the Golf has not made it out. I did see somebody walking down towards the team earlier with an exhaust manifold in hand, or some sort of manifold anyway. So whether they suddenly found a late problem, because I spoke to team boss Sean Hollenby earlier, and he was just still bubbling about the result they'd had in the first race.
Yeah, well, if that is true, maybe they've had to take off a road car or something. I don't know, because they were looking for a window yesterday and an exhaust manifold today. But we'll see what the problem is. But it'd be a big shame if we don't see him out there, because you know they're having their best, most competitive run so far.
Yeah, no, that's very disappointing. Meanwhile, we've still got these Hondas, which have been dominating things so far today. Gordon Shedden, of course, winning earlier on with Matt Neal, but they now have to carry some ballast on board those cars. The lead ballast put in a special little box. It's in the same place in all of the cars. Yeah, same, all identical, so there's no differentiation. You can't sort of advantage yourself by putting it in a different place. It's all on the passenger footwell, but in actual fact, Matt Neal stays exactly the same. Yeah, he was carrying 36 kilos. He stays the same, but Gordon Shedden gains 45 kilos. So you'd expect that Matt Neal would be the favourite to win this race, or at least beat Gordon, but it'll all depend on the start. There we are. We've got the shot of what's going on with the Golf, and plenty of work going on beneath and through the engine bay as well. So right up inside there we are. Doesn't look terribly easy, does it? Big red mallet there, though. That could do some damage. Yeah, but it looks like they're working on the back of the engine, which obviously is where the exhaust manifold is. Inlet in the front, exhaust on the back. Compressed air line there as well, and quite a few tools. WD-40 and a hammer. You can fix most things with that, can't you? But, yeah, just want the tank tape. That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's an air gun that he's using to actually do up the bolts. Right. So off on the warm-up lap. Okay, so the cars move away, and it is Shedden and Neal that will head them away, the two Honda Racing teammates, looking to see if they can take another victory. Let's take a look at the grid then. It is Gordon Shedden on pole position, Matt Neal, his teammate, alongside in another Honda Civic. Andrew Jordan in the Vectra is on the second row, then Tom Chilton in the first of the Fords. Tom Borman, who certainly been going well so far this weekend, he's on row 3 with Matt Jackson alongside. They had a good dice earlier on. Back on row 4, Tom Onslow Cole should be there, but he isn't at the moment. That gives James Nash a bit of clear space. Jeff Smith and Alex McDowell are back on row 5. Then Tony Gillam and the BMW of Rob Collard. On row 7, Paul O'Neill in his Chevrolet, then Liam Griffin in another Ford Focus. Nick Foster and Andy Neate are together on row 8. Andy had a spin on the opening lap of the first race. John George and Chris James are together on row 9. And then look who's at the back. It is Jason Plato. He suffered a puncture in the first race through trying to get the most out of the car and setting the car up a bit more aggressively perhaps than some of the other teams. Did quite a lot of damage to the front of the car when he went off at the chicane, but as ever, RML, the team, have managed to repair it all, and he's going to be starting from the back. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with Tom Chilton. He's starting from 4th position. Tom, it's Ben in the commentary box here. You're starting on the second row of the grid. Tell us how that Focus is going today.
Yeah, it's going really well. obviously upset I couldn't get on the podium, and I'm hoping Andrew Jordan with a bit of ballast on is going to slow him up. And yeah, I'm happy with the progress we're making. It's obviously doing a lot better than the old Focus so far, and we're making good changes.
And how about the tyres in that first race? Did they hold up well?
Yeah, I was being careful as well, because I've had too much experience with Thruxton and having blowouts, so I was very careful, and I think it paid off. I've got the points, and points make prizes, Ben.
Okay, have a good one, Tom. Let's
Cheers.
get a quick word with Sean Hollenby, who is in the pit lane.
Sean, what's the issue with Tom's car?
Well, we found that we had a crack in the manifold after the first race, which is a big shame. We didn't show it in the performance. Obviously, Tom was doing a fantastic job out there, and we were really, really pleased with P7. So we were looking for a strong race too, but not enough time, I think. Guys are working flat out in the garage at the moment. The AMD Milltech team, we're working flat out to get him out there, because the guy's doing a brilliant job all weekend, and we want to get him out there for this race. But 50-50 at the moment, I think, Lou.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Bad luck.
Thank you.
Well, that's really disappointing for them, but let's see whether they do get him out to start perhaps from the pit lane. Thankfully, this lap, they're all taking it quite steady, so it's going to be a few moments before they're ready to make the start. Jason Plato coming from the back, Tim. How far do you see him getting?
Well, the key is to get in the top 10. If he gets in the top 10, he's got a chance of a front row for the final race. Obviously, we don't know how many will be reversed for that final race. Every time it's a random choice between 6 and 10, but his goal is to get in that top 10 first and foremost, and perhaps give himself a chance. And I think he can do it.
Okay, well, we'll find out pretty soon enough. The cars are lining up on the grid now. It is Gordon Shedden starting from pole position with Matt Neal alongside, then Andrew Jordan and Tom Chilton, who we heard from on that warm-up lap. Behind them, Tom Boardman and Matt Jackson. All set then for the second 16-lap race of the day around the fastest racing circuit in the United Kingdom here at Thruxton. Watch for the lights going out, and then we'll be racing once again. Lights out, away we go, and it's a pretty even start from both of the Hondas on the front row, but Andrew Jordan's got a bit of a surge since he changes up through the gears, and he is attacking Matt Neal, and that Vauxhall could have split the Hondas again, but Matt Neal's on the outside, and as they come up towards the complex, it's going to be very much side by side between the two of them, battling for second. Gordon Shedden once again making the break. Matt Neal is second. It's a bit of smoke there, Tim, but I think so far so good. Oh no, contact! Nash hitting the back of Matt Jackson.
Yeah, but they've got away with it. It was Jeff Smith on. Oh, Bournemouth, so close to getting caught in the exit of the complex. But yeah, Jeff Smith had a little bit of a lock-up. Matt Neal's managed to get second. Boardman's getting under pressure from Collard here. They're side by side through that fast left-hander, and now it'll be advantage, I think, towards Collard on the inside.
Yeah. Oh, Tom Boardman has got Boardman. Oh, he's sideways.
Oh, beautifully held. Absolutely beautifully held.
That was incredible. I saw him do that at church yesterday in free practice as well. That was even better. That was for so long that he was sideways. The two Hondas are up front, and look at Matt Neal really putting his teammate under pressure here.
Well, Matt Neal will fancy his chances here for sure, because he knows that Gordon's running the extra 45 kilos up compared to race one. Let's stay off the curbs, boys. Good so far at the front.
Well, very well behaved. Everybody staying off the curbs. Dunlop will be well impressed by these guys on the first lap. Just one or two hopping over slightly, but Gordon Shedden leads from Matt Neal and Andrew Jordan. Tom Chilton is in fourth place. Little race still with Tom Boardman going on there. That's Paul O'Neill with him. I think O'Neill just ahead as they cross the line. So O'Neill in ninth in his Chevrolet. It's Shedden from Matt Neal, Andrew Jordan in third, Tom Chilton in fourth. Then it's Matt Jackson in the Airways Ford. He's got James Nash behind him, who now is 45 kilos lighter in that car, because of course he was carrying maximum ballast in the first race. Plato was 13th, and there is Plato. He's now behind Smith, and he's gained another one, so he's up to 12th place. Pretty good start. You said he needed top 10. He's not far off it already.
Well, that's a pretty blinding first lap, isn't it, by Jason Plato. He's going to be in the top 10 for sure, but at the front it looks like Neal and Shedden are really properly racing at the moment.
Yeah, they are. Shedden is in front, but how much? Matt Neal in second, as Matt just getting a little closer as they come through Church. He's going to try and pick up the toe here as they come up Woodham Hill, but of course identical cars, so they're very, very evenly matched, and they're just on the rev limiter here as they come up, so that makes it difficult to try and turn that advantage into a passing manoeuvre, and sure enough he follows Shedden through.
Yeah, and still no hitting the curbs. Good, they're told at least 5 laps, but I mean, I think a racing driver can work that down to about 3 before he he actually changes it. Let's watch this slide again.
Incredible.
From Boardman on the right hand side. He turns in, he's got a slightly cold rear tyre, it steps out, he's back on the power, he's controlling it, but it's still sliding because he's still trying to turn right. That must be 200 yards of the car at 45 degrees.
And a speed of what, 110, 115 miles an hour through there?
At least 115. This is on board with Nash at the start, tries to move over initially to block the inside. You're watching Boardman, who gets a good start up the inside of Chilton with Jackson on the outside, but the momentum carried through the outside takes Jackson and Chilton ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Nash then moving to the outside, coming up to the complex. Break down the outside, which is always a bit of a risk, but you can make time up here. And he got him in front of Boardman. Oh, and there was the contact on the back of Jackson.
Yeah, he was trying so hard to make sure that he kept Boardman out, which he did do, but just meant he ran into the back of Jackson.
Look at Shedden still from Matt Neal, but there's nothing to choose. You know, they have to be a bit careful.
Oh, Jackson, huge slide again.
Matt Jackson completely broadside through Church Corner, and he just about kept it off, going right off the track. McDowell is running in 8th place, so he's part of this little group. He's the first of the Chevys, so on the back of Nash and Collard. Then you've got O'Neill there, then Tom Boardman, and then it's Plato who's got ahead of Jeff Smith. You've got watching Liam Griffin there, he's got Andy Neat behind him, and we're looking back, looking again from James Nash at the back of Matt Jackson. That was the moment we saw from the other view.
Yeah,
oh, wonderful.
Who said these guys don't earn their money? I mean, we said it was going to be exciting watching here, and we're certainly seeing that. Some fantastic car control here.
So the two Hondas racing each other pretty hard, but they don't want to get too carried away, otherwise they might put too much stress through the front tyres. They will be wary of that. Plato now in 11th place behind Tom Boardman, so nearly into that top 10, but we're on board with James Nash here. So he led the championship coming into the event here at Thruxton. Watch him as we come through Goodwood Corner. This is the corner that Tom Boardman had the big slide. Jackson's car still looking a bit floaty, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we talked about the need for the car to be loose at the rear, and because they're trying so hard to look after the front of the cars, they've probably got the cars looser here, even though it's a fast circuit. Jackson again having a bit of a slide there. They got the cars loose than they would on a normal circuit, and they're actually at the fastest track we go to, so it's calling on all their reserves of car control.
Shedden and Neal putting on a bit of a demonstration here at the moment, but you do get that feeling that Matt Neal would love to be in front of his teammate, but the Scot is there in car number 52, trying to make it 2 out of 2. Andrew Jordan looking for another podium finish and chasing James Nash in the independence points table. Nash himself is still trying to gain a bit of ground. There's Tom Boardman on the back of Paul O'Neill, and behind them both, the Jason Plato is getting a little bit closer now. So Plato beginning to make an effort. Jeff Smith and Tony Gillam there, the two Vauxhalls, the white car of Smith versus the 888 car of Tony Gillam. Very evenly matched. That could turn into quite an interesting little race as well. But we're watching the leaders come out of the complex, and still not much difference there. Watch the back of the group, and you can see Plato getting a little closer again to Boardman, and in the background the two Vauxhalls were side by side. Oh, that is Chris James, the privateer, the ES Racing Chevrolet Lassetti, punching right front.
Well, actually the suspension looked broke because the wheel was at a jaunty angle, shall we say, so clearly more than just a puncture, and that was then rubbing on the wheel arch to cause the smoke. But the two Hondas definitely got something in hand. On the third lap they were still not using the curbs of the chicane. I noticed on the third lap everybody else was going straight across them, so they've got something in hand, those Hondas, but they're playing a very good team game.
Jason Plato has just
watch again. Yeah, okay, Matt Neal's now they're going over the curbs, but that's because they've got Jordan up behind them. They need to get a wriggle on, really.
Yeah, Andrew Jordan right with them, as you say. Tom Chilton's not far behind as well, is he? Matt Jackson, the whole lead group is actually not separated by very much at all. We've got 2 seconds at the moment covering the top 6 cars. Then in 7th place is Collard, 8th McDowell, and then in 9th place is Paul O'Neill. So top 4 cars very much together here. Tom Chilton in the Aon Ford on the back of this lead group, and you've got a great view there from the right-hand side of Tom Chilton's car.
Yeah, so important to get flat out on that last right-hander of the complex to carry your speed onto the fast open section here. And you can hear flat out Tom Chilton not even breathing on the throttle, although it pushes you to the right-hand side on the entrance to Goodwood, which is not the ideal line, but he's carrying very good speed through here.
Yeah, that's right. You can watch Andrew Jordan's car ahead. Here comes Matt Neal. He's got a bit of a run. Can he get down the inside of his teammate down into Church Corner? Matt Neal goes goes through into the lead. The two Hondas swap around, and you get the feeling that Matt Neal really wants to take the maximum points from this one. He's taken the championship lead after the first race, and now he wants to capitalise on that and further extend his advantage. Gordon Shedden still behind him. Andrew Jordan not quite as close. Well, he's still pretty close to the back of Shedden's car. There you are. That's on board with Andrew Jordan, as they really are beginning to hop those curbs now.
Yeah, and you can see just how much straighter the line is through there from looking from behind when they do miss out those curves, when they do run over the curbs. It makes it so much straighter and faster.
Yeah, that's right, but they have been patient in the early stages to get those tyres up to temperature. Up towards the complex they come now then, and Jordan trying to keep these two Hondas in touch. Matt Neal was a bit fast in there. He actually missed the apex a little bit, the inner curve. Shedden had a tidier line there, and Matt Neal might not have it all his own way just yet as they accelerate out. Remember, it is Gordon Shedden's car that is the heaviest of these three, carrying that maximum ballast from his earlier victory.
Yeah, and again through there, Andrew Jordan on board, flat out. The car handling very well, as you'd expect from the slightly longer wheelbase car. It should handle better through these fast corners, and he is gaining. He's gaining through the fast corners on the two Hondas, definitely.
Yeah, he's got a good run going here, and he's actually maybe sizing up Gordon Shedden for a potential overtaking manoeuvre. That would put him into second if he could actually do it. Up towards the chicane, he's still got Tom Chilton behind, so we've got the leaders all very much together, although Matt Neal just beginning to make an escape. Watching the foot cam up towards the chicane here, Tim.
Yeah, braking with his left foot, a lot of modulation on the brake pedal we see there. Now he's come off it and he's back on the throttle, a little tap as he goes through the first part, then hard on the throttle coming out, pulling the shift lever without using the clutch at all, just breathing on the brake on the way into the first corner Alada, then back on the throttle again, changing up through the gears and not using the clutch at all. Now about to brake for the complex, braking now, and lightly initially, then off the throttle, down through the gears, hopping over the curb, burst of throttle, maybe a little tap on the brakes there just for the left-hander, then back on the throttle. Now is the key exit of the complex, and now you can.
Yeah, and now he's nowhere near the brake there.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
That was great view though, and I know Andy himself was keen for that camera to be put down there, and it's giving us a really different opportunity, isn't it, to watch his technique.
He seems to lose out a little bit through that complex, but then gain massively through this right-hander where Gordon Shedden seems to be struggling. But we saw Matt Neal get out the inside of him down here into Church a couple of laps before, and it seems to be where Gordon is struggling a little bit.
So back with the fourth place car behind Andrew Jordan. See the brake lights just coming on briefly there as he goes through the corner out towards that outer curb. We are on lap 8 out of 16, so half distance in this second race of the day, and at the moment it's looking good for Honda. They're running 1-2 with Jordan in third in the Pertec Vauxhall. Then this car that you're riding on, the Aon Ford of Tom Chilton, trying to get a podium here, but if he's going to do that, he's going to have to find a way past the Vauxhall. And then behind Chilton, it's still Jackson in the airwaves close, coming under a bit of threat there from James Nash in the black Vauxhall. Gap back to Rob Collard in the white BMW, who's got McDowell, and Plato has got past O'Neill. Plato up to 9th now. That is crucial, as we said. Top 10 very important, because up to 10 cars can be reversed on the grid for race 3. Well, he's into 9th. He could probably do with a place or two more to be safe of getting a front position.
Yeah, I'll tell you what he would like, and that's a safety car, because that would just bunch everybody up together. This is McDowell, Alex, fighting with Rob Collard, and this will allow Plato to catch up to the two of them very quickly.
These cars are all non-turbo cars. They're all normally aspirated, of course. The BMW running to S2000 specs over the two Chevys, so pretty evenly matched in terms of horsepower and the way that the engine delivers its power. A little dab on the brake, it's a good one. Just watch that BMW. Look at the back-end slide. Look how the driver's having to correct it and how close it gets to the grass on the outside.
Yeah, and you could see that every time he had to correct a slide, the car went sideways instead of forwards, and McDowell was able to close on him.
Yeah, that's right. Fascinating. Rear-wheel drive BMW versus front-wheel drive Chevy. Good exit there from Alex McDowell. But here, the battle up the hill, there's so little to choose in straight line speed between these two cars. Collard, a little dab of left foot on the brake. You saw the brake lights come on just to make sure his brake pedal's there. McDowell, oh, he's hit him! He's hit Collard! And round goes Collard on the rear-wheel drive car. He can't pull out of that. McDowell goes through. It's put him into 7th, and it's put Plato into 8th. But that will be a boiling Rob Collard inside that car.
Yeah, well, that was a case of trying so hard to stop the car and braking so late. McDowell is very close back, and he's not trying to overtake, he's just left his brakings fractionally too hard. He's tried to pull to the inside to miss him, but ended up just tapping him. And as you say, in a front-wheel drive car, Collard would have got away with it, but not in a rear-wheel drive car.
Well, it's happened with Matt Neal when they were battling for the lead last year, and it's happened for Collard again this time, not battling for the lead, but McDowell, the one there this time who has given him the tap. Matt Neal leads, Gordon Shedden in second still, with Jordan in third, then Chilton, then Jackson is still in fifth, James Nash in sixth. McDowell obviously is still there, but could be in trouble for that manoeuvre. Plato is currently 8th, O'Neill is 9th, and Tom Boorman is currently in 10th place, Gillam 11th, then Smith, Neat, Griffin and John George currently in 15th. You're on board with Andrew Jordan once again. Still looking at a podium finish here, and he would be pretty happy with that because he would still be the first independent home. Remember, 2 Hondas are running in the Manufacturers' Championship, and Jordan very much looking at the independents. That was a mistake from Shedden though, and this has given a huge opportunity for Andrew Jordan, and you could see that one coming.
Well, he could see what he had to do because Shedden overshot the first part of the chicane. So Jordan took his chance, straight lined the chicane curbs and got the exit speed out, and really took advantage of that opportunity. But watch Jordan here, it's all 4 wheels across the middle part of the chicane. That's so dangerous to do for the tyres, but he's taken the gamble because he wanted the position.
Yeah, and is this an element of Shedden now carrying maximum ballast, do you think?
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. We saw Shedden walk away with it in the first race, put 45 kilos in the car, and that is the effect of weight. Look at Nash. Nash has lost the weight out of his car, and he's flying.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
That's what this series is all about. We know what you're going to get, and you have to play to your strengths and take advantage when you can, and take your medicine when you can't. And Shedden's doing that at the moment.
Yeah, and he might have to take some more medicine here because Tom Chilton's breathing down his neck, isn't he? So through the right, and again, Shedden a bit wide. He couldn't get the front end of the car into where he wanted it. Chilton's now surely got a bit of a run, but he's not quite close enough to get alongside onto that vital braking zone up towards the grandstands at the chicane there. Not close enough, and he's going to have to look towards the exit of the corner, but Shedden this time is much tidier into it.
Yeah, and in fact it's Chilton who runs wide in the middle part of the chicane and loses the gap. But here's Nash on the back of this, and Jackson. So clearly Shedden is the one that's just holding everybody out, which is what you'd expect with the weight.
Yeah, but it makes life exciting now, as you say, because James Nash has got a run here on Matt Jackson. He's ever so close to getting up the inside, but Jackson covers that. He moves back to the outside, does Nash in the Vauxhall. Jackson in the Ford, holds it in tight. Nash, this is the great thing about the complex. You can all take different lines and try and get different momentum.
Yeah, and it's all about this exit. He's hoping to get a really good run out of here. He's certainly got more speed, but he's going to be on the wrong side for the left-hander at Noble.
McDowell is still behind them, and McDowell has just set fastest lap in this race, no doubt helped by the fact that he's chasing after turbo cars up the straight, getting a bit of a tow, and Plato is still behind him in 8th position as we come through Goodwood. You're riding back on board with James Nash, and Matt Jackson definitely taking a slightly defensive line, protecting his position at the moment, which is 5th. Remember, Jackson came through to win race 3 last time out at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, the car's not quite so oversteering now. The front tyres have gone off a little bit on the front-wheel drive car, so it's not quite as pointy at the front to the touch of the steering wheel, so it doesn't tend to oversteer quite as much.
That's right, so let's see, up towards the end of this lap. This will be coming around to complete 12 laps. We go on to lap 13 out of 16, and he's sort of wiping his front bumper almost over the back bumper of Matt Jackson, one side, then the other. James Nash really wants to get this place, but he's very aware of the points that he's got already in the championship, and it's been his consistency that's helped him do that. What he doesn't need to do is to get into trouble and fail to finish the race, and Jackson, a very wily campaigner, is putting his car cleverly in position that makes it hard for Nash to get alongside.
Yeah, but Jackson's clearly struggling through the slower corners with change of direction. He was struggling through the chicane. He's not very quick through the complex here either, so that's obviously the car's weakness at the moment.
I know that these guys with Nash certainly have gone a little bit more aggressive with the setup. They were very comfortable with their tyres in that first race, despite carrying the ballast. So without weight on board, they've been able to go just a little bit more aggressive on setup, and they're hoping that that will move them up. Well, they have moved up a bit. They're into 6th place, but he could do with a few more places before going into that reverse grid in race 3. Oh, look at Jackson again, very sideways.
What was I saying about the oversteer not being a factor? Although in fact Nash ran wide there as well, so maybe something down on the track, but You know, you try so hard through Church because it's such a long way up to the next corner, the braking area, that you want to carry maximum speed through there. So the drivers really do try hard there.
Back over the chicane they come then, and up front, let me just tell you that Matt Neal has just crossed the line. His advantage over his teammate is now 2.4 seconds, so Matt Neal is flying 1 minute 20.7 on the last lap. Jordan rather in second place, Shedden of course in third position, still protecting that third from Tom Chilton in the Ford, and then Matt Jackson in another Ford, the Airwaves car, there it is in the queue with James Nash behind him. Then it's McDowell and Plato, although there is a 1.5 second gap between the two Chevrolets. There's McDowell, there you can see Jason Plato having come from the back, he's now up to 8th. There in 9th is O'Neill, then Boardman in 10th. He's got Tony Gillam breathing down his neck in his distinctively coloured car. Then Jeff Smith is behind. Andy Neitz is running 13th. Liam Griffin 14th. Rob Collard is back in 15th place. John George, Nick Foster completing the top 17 as we go back on board with fourth place Tom Chilton. Running out of laps now. Are people going to start risking it a bit more now, banging it over the curbs, or are we going to save all that up for race 3 later in the day?
Just Chilton carrying us so much entry speed there. Loses a bit mid-corner, but he went in a good 3 or 4 mile an hour quicker than Shedden. You can see it's paying a little bit dividends now, but unless he's brave and goes for the outside, there's not going to be a passing opportunity.
He's got to hope that Shedden brakes a bit too late. There's a light lock-up on the right rear, but that's not a big factor. He does bounce the curbs a little bit there, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and Chilton's all over him now with not much of this race left. Well, 1 lap to go.
Yeah, across the line. Will it be 2 laps? In fact, we're on to lap 15 and they'll be coming across onto the final lap next time. And he is running out of time, but they're also all probably running out of grip a little bit at this stage. Lap times have gone from being in the 119s earlier, they're all down into the 121s now.
Yeah, it just shows you how much the performance they lose over the course of the race. So the car's starting to feel like a shopping trolley underneath you, with it moving around all over the place. You just can't take the lines that you want to, but it's Nash is on the back of Jackson and still hoping to get something out of this.
Yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. You do get the feeling there might be a change around in this little group before the checkered flag comes out. Matt Neal is still our race leader. Jordan still in second position, remember, so the 2 Hondas, which were 1-2 earlier today, they have been split for now by the Pertec Vauxhall. Chilton still in 4th place. You're with Nash, who is in 6th position, and McDowell still in 7th, Plato in 8th. How are they looking through Church? That was better.
That was tidy, but yeah, surprisingly Plato hasn't made any inroads into McDowell. Still a 2.5 between them, so he's not making any progress, but the man trying to make progress is Chilton on Shedden.
Yeah, this is it. Once again, you're on board, and again, Shedden really hops that inner curve. Look how Chilton's got a chance to get a bit more momentum. Can he get his nose up the inside into Allard corner? I don't think he's quite going to be there. He's still having a look, but Shedden can shut the door on him, and there's still no change. Now we're on to the final lap. What can Chilton do? Look at him running from one. Oh, and off Liam Griffin. That's at the chicane. He's taken one of those bales with him. So hopefully not too much damage done, but let's just see if we can spot what happened.
He's just run out of grip at the rear, was braking too late and just literally lost it on the oversteer from blocking the rear brakes up, getting out wide on the dirt.
Back with the battles, Tom Boardman still with Tony Gillam breathing down his neck. James Nash can't find his way past Matt Jackson either. Some frustration. Will it bubble over on this last lap, or will they keep their cool and go into that final race of the day trying to score as many points as possible? But I tell you, one man is looking very cool. That's Matt Neal. He's got a big lead here.
Yeah, he has indeed, and he'll be stroking it through, but there's plenty of battles all the way down, and I mean, we've got Gillam trying very hard to get past Bourne, we've got Chilton trying to get past Shedden, and Nash trying to get past Jackson, so battles all the way up to this final chicane.
Let's see what happens then. Matt Neal on his own, as long as the tyres hold out and he doesn't get too aggressive on the curbs. He has got this one wrapped up. Matt Neal, who now has also won at every track that we've visited so far this year. The championship leader further extends his championship lead. Second place goes to Andrew Jordan. Third to Gordon Shedden, and he beats Tom Chilton, with Jackson beating Nash across the line. No change there. And then the 2 Chevrolets of McDowell and Plato. Hard but clean racing throughout, and lots of little little opportunities that didn't quite come off. Let's just see what happened on the last. This was Nash on Jackson, Tim. Let's see, it was pretty close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and Jackson moving the cross just a little bit unnecessarily there on Nash, and he had the inside anyway and kept the position.
Yeah, just about, and thankfully they didn't end up on the grass. So Matt Neal takes the victory. It's his 3rd win of the year. It's his 39th career win. I tell you what, he's looking very strong for this year's title.
Yeah, that car's looking absolutely planted and secure and reliable as well now, and as you say, one at every circuit. Very slow in lap, you'll notice, by all the turbo cars now, because they're not allowed to use the big cooling fans when they come into the pit, so they're coming in very slowly. They're not even allowed to use cooling fans on the brakes, so you'll see them literally just come in very slowly as they can to cool the engine down.
Yeah, and of course turbo engines creating an awful lot of heat, so that's a vital part. So Andrew Jordan finishing in 2nd place. Let's go and have a quick word with him. Andrew, well done. Many congratulations from us in the commentary box. That's another podium and more vital points for you.
Mate, that's mega. 5th podium on the trot, we're on a roll. The car's awesome to drive, awesome. I'm absolutely loving it. And I could see Gordon was obviously struggling with the weight a fair bit, because he gained up to 45 and I only gained 9, and I think Matt stayed the same. So I saw the previous lap he'd outbraked himself into the chicane, and I saw the next lap, and you don't need to give me many invitations because I was at the inside there, and then just managing the tyres. So really, really pleased, and I'm just loving it, mate.
Well done, many congratulations. That's a big smile from Andrew Jordan, even though we can't see his mouth. You know he's got a big smile on his face.
Yeah, but there's a young man thoroughly enjoying his racing, his car and his team.
So the result, Matt Neal the winner by 2 seconds from Andrew Jordan, who splits the 2 Hondas this time. Shedden finishes 3rd, Chilton 4th, Matt Jackson in 5th in another Ford, then James Nash in the Vectra. McDowell and Plato, the 2 teammates, were 7th and 8th, Boardman 9th, and Tony Gillam finished in 10th place. Outside the points, Paul O'Neill and Jeff Smith, Andy Neat and Rob Collard as well. John George finished in 15th place ahead of Nick Foster. Liam Griffin finished 17th despite the spin at the chicane, and Chris James failed to finish. Cars making their way back in. Let's take a look at the championship positions now. Matt Neal on 84, so he's further extended that lead, but Andrew Jordan has now come up into 2nd place overall, and from his point of view, he's now tied with James Nash, and those two are battling in the Independence Championship as well, so it could be a hard-fought contest. Matt Jackson in 4th, Gordon Shedden in 5th place, so the very good solid points gathering from Gordon Shedden today, which has sort of put behind what is a bit of a disappointing start to the season with a couple of problems. Tom Chilton now in 6th place. Jason Plato, though, you know, he was leading after Brands Hatch. He was 5th in the points after Donington, and now he's dropped all the way down to 7th place, even though he did get some points in that one. Paul O'Neill in 8th, McDowell in 9th place, Rob Collard currently only on 17 points in his BMW. In the Teams Championship, Honda again further extending their advantage, but Pertec have popped up into 2nd now. They've overtaken Triple Eight Racing with Collins, and that is a good gain for Andrew Jordan. Silverline Chevrolet, they got 2 cars in the points there, but as you can see, they're further down than you might have expected with the various problems they've had. Airwaves on 65 points. And let's just take a look at the manufacturers. Honda, of course, having a wonderful day here from their point of view. Chevrolet certainly had a great start to the season at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit, Tim, but this Thruxton circuit seems to be suiting that Honda Civic.
Honda's day so far, but this reshuffled grid will surely prevent a Honda clean sweep and certainly add to the entertainment at Thruxton. Round 9 of the Dunlop British Touring Car Championship is described by Tim Harvey and Ben Edwards.
Well, the question is, I suppose, are Honda going to be able to make it 3 out of 3? And you know, we have to go back to 2005 when the same manufacturer managed to win all 3 races. And in fact, on that day, it was the same driver. It was Dan Eaves.
Dan Eaves in a Honda.
In a Honda.
Yeah.
But it's a long time since the same manufacturer has won all 3 races here.
I think it's unlikely. I mean, the Hondas have obviously got a lot of weight on them. Plato starts at the front with no weight at all. And, this is his best chance to salvage something from the weekend.
Yeah, well, let's see if he can. He's got Tom Boardman on pole position in the black Seat, so let's see whether he's going to be able to hold on up front as well. Let's see the rest of the grid. It's Alex McDowell and James Nash on the 2nd row of the grid, 2 youngsters charging along. Matt Jackson and Tom Chilton are coming from row 3 in 2 Ford Focuses, slightly different versions, but they've got the same engines. That's going to be an interesting contest. We know they like to beat each other. Jordan and Shedden are then together on row 4 after their little swap around after that last race. Row 5 sees Matt Neal and Tony Gillam. Row 6, we've got Paul O'Neill's having a bit of a quiet day, as Paul. Jeff Smith is with him on that 6th row in another of the Pertec Vauxhalls. Andy Neate and Rob Collard are together on row 7. Of course, Collard had that tap from McDowell in the previous race. John George and Nick Foster are together on row 8. Liam Griffin and Chris James, who suffered broken suspension, as you thought, Tim, earlier on. He is on row 9. Row 10 is Tom Onslow Cole. That Golf has been repaired. He never did get back out in race 2. Frank Raffle also had a problem with his car. And Rob Austin brings up the rear in the Audi. So there we are, that's how they line up for this one. James Nash came into Thruxton as the championship leader. He has dropped back a little bit, but he is starting in 4th place on the grid in this one. He's in the black Vauxhall Vectra there, which is just making its way around through the complex. Let's go and have a quick word with James. James, it's been a bit of a sort of character building weekend, I suppose you could call it so far, but you've got a good chance to score some useful points in this one.
Yeah, we came into this weekend not having been here in a saloon, so I was always up against it really, especially with the weight. Yeah, it's been a lot harder than I first thought as well. Always underestimated it here. It's been good so far, collected points and kept going. We're in 4th, so we're in with a good shout.
So you reckon another podium on the cards, perhaps?
Certainly a chance. We'll be aiming for Boorman and McDowell. Getting rid of those pretty quickly, hopefully, and pushing Jason to the end, and hopefully we can pop his tyre somewhere.
Okay, well, we'll watch with interest. So, confident sounding James Nash there, Tim.
Yeah, very confident, and got his race plan sorted out, and expects to go forward. He's got no weight on the car, and he had a practice in race 2 with no weight. He starts further up this, but it's great to hear such a confident youngster, isn't it? I mean, he's looking at getting to the front and maybe winning the race if Plato has a problem, or but great confidence, great focus, great determination.
Yeah, it's lovely to hear these youngsters. We've seen Andrew Jordan having a great day. There we are on board with Andy, looking at his feet again on the warm-up lap this time. We might get some more shots of that during the race. So he and James Nash really are the sort of the new blood in touring cars at the moment that are shaking up the established order. Yeah,
very exciting it is too to watch, and great drivers. Really enjoy watching them, and I enjoy their passion, their excitement and enthusiasm for it.
Yeah, so there we are. Andrew Jordan just bringing the car around. He's lighting up those front tyres a little bit, trying to get a bit more heat in them.
Yeah, and try and get a bit of warmth in the clutch as well. You saw him using the clutch there just to get some heat into it before they make the start.
So the final race of the day. It is the last race of all of the races here at Thruxton. So good to see a good many fans have stayed with us here to watch this final race, and of course with the reverse grid you always can expect some fireworks in this one, can't you?
You certainly can. So we'll see, and there's some good ones at the back as well. We'll be interested to see how Tom Onslow Cole gets on from the back with no weight in the car. We saw how quick he was earlier, so we'll watch his progress as well.
Yeah, so here we go, up onto the front row of the grid, first couple of rows of the grid. We've got Tom Boorman on pole, Jason Plato second, and he's got his teammate in there to help him out as well, Alex McDowell. But James Nash sounding confident, and also don't forget Matt Jackson, who had a victory last time out in race 3 at Donington in the Airwaves Ford Focus. Lots to watch for. Can the Hondas fight their way through? And what about Andrew Jordan, who's been quick all day? Can he fight his way through from the bottom end of the top 10? And as you say, the likes of Tom Onslow Cole coming from the back of the field. Plenty to watch. We're all set to go. I think the last couple of cars just moving into position here on the grid at Thruxton. And the final race of the day is ready to go. A longer hold, lights out, and who's going to be into the first corner? Plato makes a breathtaking start. Boorman is left behind. The Chevrolet surges in front. McDowell, unlike him, has made a poor start and is being sandwiched by Tom Chilton. Plato in front. Look, Matt Jackson has come from nowhere. Matt Jackson's up to second place.
Yeah, brilliant start by Jackson and Plato. It was McDowell who got a very poor start. You can see him fighting back there alongside the focus of Chilton. He's just held that position, but brilliant start of the race by Plato.
There was a bit of running between Jordan and one of the Hondas. I think it might have been Shedden, in fact, after their little disagreement in the previous race about the passing manoeuvre, but neither of them wanted to give way there. Plato in front in the Chevrolet. Can he hold on for a victory here? That would be quite something. He's got the Ford behind, the Seat in third of Tom Boardman, who was slow off the line, he'll be kicking himself, wasting that pole position opportunity. Further back, some good racing going on as well. Everybody making it round so far on this opening lap. Frank Rathel chased by Chris James towards the back there as well, and I think the Golf must have picked up a couple of places having started at the back.
Yeah, Jackson started 5th and he's challenging for the lead at the end of his first lap. Plato will not want to give that to him at the moment, but looking up a little bit. These guys are really going for it from the start, over the curb at the end of the first lap. That's naughty, but Plato gets cleanly out the chicane.
It is going to be fast and furious stuff here, there's no doubt about it. Plato in front, but the turbo cars ganging up behind him have the advantage in straight line speed. And of course we know Plato had a puncture earlier on by driving as hard as he could. He put a bit too much stress through the tyres and ended up with damage to his car, but he's in front at the moment from Matt Jackson in second. You're on board with James Nash, he's sitting in 4th place, tucked up behind Tom Boardman. McDowell is in 5th, Chilton is in 6th place, Andrew Jordan 7th, Shedden is currently 8th, Matt Neal in 9th, and Tony Gillam is in 10th.
Well, Plato's going to have no choice from this early laps but to drive flat out yet again, certainly at this stage of the race, because the turbos really are pushing hard, Jackson, Boardman and Nash. So we'll see how Plato gets on. I'm sure the team will have backed off that camber just a fraction to give that front tyre a little bit more help, but he's got no choice but drive flat out.
Yeah, and then hold on and hope that it lasts the race distance. So down towards Church Corner we come, just on the second lap out of 16. It's Plato leading, Jackson in second, who made that absolutely mega start, and Jason's mum looking nervous as ever, because can he hold on? It's a long way to go in this race as yet. The two Hondas are running in team formation as they were earlier on when they were running first and second and then first and third. Andrew Jordan though is ahead of both of them, and you're looking back from Jordan's car right at Gordon Shedden in the number 52 car. His teammate Matt Neal is behind, then you just saw Tony Gillam, then Paul O'Neill. Rob Collard is in 12th, Jeff Smith is in 13th ahead of Andy Neate, and Tom Onslow Cole in the Golf. He got up to 15th at the end of the first lap, hasn't gained any more on this last lap.
Yeah, the Honda's keeping their powder dry at the moment. They'll hope this race comes to them with some action in front of them. They're carrying the ballast, and all they can do really, we saw how much it hurt Shedden in race 2, where he went half a second slower than in race 1. So Matt Neal's got that full ballast on board now, so as championship leader he'll just sit there and wait for the points to come to him.
Yeah, there's no point in rushing it. Behind them Jeff Smith was making a bit of a move on Collard and O'Neill. The white Vauxhall just caught a glimpse of him trying to get alongside, so that car's going well. Andrew Jordan just ahead of the two Hondas. There you are, Gillam chased by O'Neill, then Smith, who's got ahead of Collard, so Collard lost a place, and has Onslow Cole gained one?
Just past the Andy Neate on the inside into Goodwood there.
Great, so another move for the Golf. Plato opening up a bit of a gap, but how much is he taking out of his tyres to do this? Oh, off! Frank Rathel in the Toyota, has he just pulled off? Or has he slid off? Looks as though he might have just pulled off.
I think he just pulled off because he was slowing down when it looked like there was nothing in front of him, so I'm sure he just slowed down and stopped, pulled off. But the car's now using the curve, so lap times will be a little bit quicker. Plato has the fastest lap on the last lap at 18.8. This time at 18.9.
Yeah, but that's quick lappery, isn't it, from Jason Plato? And he had a faster first sector, in fact, on that last lap. Back on board with James Nash. He sits in 4th place. Tom Boardman's not going to be an easy guy to pass. He's driving well though this weekend, no doubt, and wants the points, does Tom Boardman, because he's lost out on points on numerous occasions already this year. Popping over the curve, that left-hand curve, they do have to be careful with that one.
Yeah, it's just amazing how well those cars handle the curve, so they barely upsets the car at all. But fantastic footage here from onboard Nash through this 115-mile-an-hour left-hand noble corner. The car bouncing away, huge amount of trust in that left rear tyre. Look how hard it's working. That left rear tyre around there, bouncing on the suspension, all the weight on that left rear, and that's an undriven wheel, remember, so just rolling along, the driver putting all his faith in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And watch it through here, even faster, 120 miles an hour, and Boardman is mighty through there. Goodness me.
Very fast, but the car tracking in a nice straight line, unlike when we saw him at Goodwood Corner earlier on in the afternoon in this second race when he had such a big save. Now, Matt Neal is still chasing down his teammate Gordon Shedden, whether he's going to find a way past or not. Meanwhile, Paul O'Neill here is battling with Jeff Smith and just squeezes in front of him. I think he's got back in front of him because he was in front of him when they came back past us last time, and he's just got back in front of Jeff Smith again, but there's not much to choose between them. And then the turbocharged Vauxhall comes back at him on the inside, and there's no answer from the Chevrolet, and Jeff Smith reclaims the place.
Oh, but runs wide, and that's given Paul O'Neill the inside line up to the complex. But right behind them, that's Collard trying to get on the action. 3 abreast. Something's got to give here. Collard's trying to go all the way around the outside of Smith. Will he get the inside now? Yes, he does. And Onslow Cole's in there as well.
This is good stuff, isn't it? Paul O'Neill will be enjoying this, although he'd prefer it if it was for the lead. But Collard's right there. So is Jeff Smith, and as you say, Tom Onslow Cole and Andy Neaton, the second of the Team A on Fords, putting on an entertaining performance here. Collard might be feeling a little bit better, but he's right there with Paul O'Neill, and these two are hoping to keep it clean this time after their incident at Donington last time out. Jeff Smith again, very fast in the Vauxhall through the fast sweeper at Goodwood, and here comes Tom Onslow Cole on Smith. Has he got an overlap? No, he's not going to be close enough there, I think, but he's very brave through Church Corner.
Yeah, but Jeff Smith's driving the wheels off his factory, thoroughly enjoying his touring car racing this year, and really doing the championship a great credit, and Pertec as well.
Yeah, definitely, as he continues to harry Rob Collard. Onslow Cole, though, loves this Thruxton circuit. Can he gain any places here? They weren't able to get the golf out for the race too, but it's looking in fine fettle this time. Andy Neaton chases. Liam Griffin is in the second airways. Meanwhile, you're looking at Andrew Jordan, who is trying to make a place if possible. Oh, and off in the barrier! Off in the barrier! And so that is Chilton, I think. Yeah, it's Chilton who has gone off. We were riding with Chilton, and it's... Oh, look.
He can't believe it. Well, he just ran wide through... that's Gordon Shedden's wife, Gillian, but it's she hasn't got to worry. It's Tom that's gone off. He's kicking himself. He's okay. The car's a mess, but he's okay, and just ran wide on the exit of Allard, the first corner, and got on the dust, and then no chance.
Well, that was a real shock to the system, watching that sort of as we were on board.
Watching the background,
yeah.
Chilton's wide. He's wide. In fact, Jordan was wide as well. But that's quite a big impact there. That's and lucky as he comes back across the road not to collect anyone. We remember Rob Collard a few years ago in the MG having a huge shunt there. Yeah. Back to another version. There's no contact. It's just that Chilton's tried so hard to carry the speed and defend from Jordan. They've both gone in too quick, but Jordan manages to keep the car straight.
Oh dear, that was as you say, it could have been a lot worse, but this is the moment that Tom Chilton just ran it. He got over the curve a little bit, but then both of them, as you say, trying to go through too quick and just running out of road.
Trying to defeat the laws of physics and friction, and you can't do it.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So Tom Chilton, luckily in a way that he wasn't T-boned or collected. The safety car is on circuit. Let's take another look at this.
This is from earlier back coming out of the chicane, and Jordan's got a bit of a run. Chilton's really desperate to hold off in front of him, so just carries. You can see there's an extra 5 mile an hour on his entry speed, and unfortunately there's not enough tarmac for him there.
And Jordan, he nearly took out one of the banners. He only just managed to get back onto the road. He is still running in 8th place, but that was some pretty frightening moments for both of them, and Tom Chilton's car pretty badly damaged, but it could have been a lot worse. So everyone queued up behind the safety car at the moment. It's Plato leading from Jackson. Doesn't help Plato this, because he'd actually opened up a little bit of an advantage over the turbo cars, and now of course they are going to be all over him.
They will, and look at the grass in the front of Jordan's air inlet. These turbocharged cars run pretty close to the limit on cooling, and that could be a deciding factor in Jordan's race if he has any problems with cooling. They're going to clear Chilton's car away. That won't take too long, but yeah, it's closed up the field. First safety car we've had in the touring cars today.
Yeah, it is actually. So it continues the fact that we've had safety cars at least once at every event so far this year. Otherwise they were going to go clean this weekend. The Hondas will be happy because it has closed up that lead pack, and it means that they might be in with an opportunity. We gather that Jordan is probably going to be coming in to have that front radiator grille cleared. Chris James at the back there, he'll also be happy because it's given him a chance to sort of close up to the rest of the group. Found a couple of seconds a lap just by studying his technique through the complex, he was telling me earlier, and then kicking himself afterwards for not getting it quite right, but and then he had that suspension failure which showed that he couldn't really prove it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's another safety car lap, it will definitely pay Jordan to come in, because he can clean that radiator out and get out still on the back of the Crocodile. If it goes green here, which I don't think it is because nobody's going up close, then he'd be in trouble because they'd all get away. But he's got the chance to clear it out, get on the back of the pack and gain some more places.
Yeah, and that's more important. Oh, maybe he's going to stay out. We've just been trying to monitor what's going on there between the team and driver, and he is staying out. He goes past the pit entry. and he's going very close to what they're doing.
They're having a look. Yeah, he's gone past the team so they can have a look, and they'll decide. But he's very busy on the radio at the moment, talking to the team, watching the temperature, giving them a report. I heard him say the temperature's going up, and that's why they're going slowly.
Okay, let's see if we can grab a quick word with him. Andy, obviously maybe concerns about engine temperature. We've got a bit of grass there, but hopefully he'll be okay.
Yeah, I was just trying to get it close to the pit wall so the guys could see. We were going to pit, but I think it's all right looking at the temperature, so I've worked hard. I think my steering took a bit of a knock there, so we'll see what we can do with this.
Both you and Tom went off there. Was it just both of you trying so hard?
Yeah, he closed me down, the engine on that Ford, so strong. Got a run on him out the chicane. And he closed me down a fair bit, which put me in tight, and I just clipped the curb wrong. He went in way too quick. It's one of those things, my mistake, so forget about that and just get on with this one.
Okay, we'll leave you to it. So, interesting stuff. The lights are out on the safety car, so they will be going racing when they come back past us.
Yeah, depending on how the guys do the restart, there can be quite a bit of separation on the restart if they're not all on their game. Obviously, Plato, very experienced. He will drop back as he has done from the safety car. And look, Boardman is a long way back at the moment. It doesn't help. Boardman should be keeping up. There is a rule that says you've got to keep up. So if he could be in trouble. He's not helping him. It just breaks the whole pack up behind, and he's supposed to be within so many car lengths of the car in front. He's closing up now. He's still not there. Plato will go any minute now, and then Plato's gone, and that Boardman has holed up everybody else.
Yeah, that's very, very strange, isn't it? And it's certainly going to help Jason Plato, because Boardman was just too far behind Matt Jackson, so even Jackson's not quite as close as he would want. But Boardman now having to defend vigorously from James Nash. Nash moved to the inside briefly, but there wasn't quite the space. Both are in turbocharged cars, and they've got McDowell bearing down on them now. Alex McDowell in the other Chevrolet, and the two Hondas close behind. So Boardman hasn't done himself no favours whatsoever from that restart, and Nash looking very aggressive, but McDowell's got a chance. He's got the inside line. Nothing that Nash could do to shut the door, although he's got the inside line, and now trying to squeak through the inside is Shedden. Great stuff. This is proper touring car action now, and Matt Neal's trying to take advantage. He goes side by side with his teammate, and Matt Neal's got past Shedden, and he's trying to get past McDowell at the same time.
That was so close. Matt Neal was determined to get past Shedden, but he had to really tuck it over the inside curb to avoid running into McDowell, which he did very well. But well, that was really close racing through the complex.
Yeah, great stuff from Matt Neal. And, well, he might be a double former champion, but boy, he looks hungry this year. He might be leading the points, but he's still prepared to take the risk up against his own teammate, and he's done it. And it's got him right back behind McDowell there as he tries to gain yet more points. James Nash just up the hill still once again, and there's Plato and Jackson through. Then Nash has gone in too deep. Yeah, he could be in trouble here. Nash, he might lose another place to McDowell here. Let's see. Oh, he's still got out of the chicane okay, actually. And now here comes Matt Neal. Matt Neal down the inside of McDowell. He's trying to go through past the Chevrolet, squeezing, pushing, and that's totally justified, and Shedden's going to try and do the same. Oh, McDowell doesn't want that to happen. Which way is this going to go? Oh, Matt Neal closes the door. Shedden's not going to give it up. McDowell could lose a few places here, because look at Jordan and Gillum are right there as well.
Yeah, but Shedden's still trying to fight it out. He's on the right-hand side, but has he got it? No, McDowell's got in front of him.
Oh, this is good stuff. Matt Neal is ahead of them, but McDowell fighting hard. No, he isn't. Look, McDowell has lost a bit of run here, and now Andrew Jordan's gone alongside him, and there's nothing he can do because he's now on the outside being hung out to dry by Jordan, and Gillum is there too, so he's going to have to tuck in behind Jordan not to lose yet another place, and how quickly things can change.
Yeah, it's great racing, but undoubtedly the turbo car still had a little bit of an edge on McDowell's car there. That's what was making it hard for him to race against them. But Neal has fought his way through. He's used that safety car period to get on the back of the pack and just jump them on the restart, basically, with racecraft. And that's put him up to, well, he's moved up now to for 5th place.
Yeah, that's impressive, isn't it? All luck up from McDowell there as he came into the chicane, but got away with it. Paul O'Neill is still running in 10th place, Collard 11th, Onslow Cole in 12th, then Smith, Neat and Griffin. Let's just take a look as they come across the line. That's Collard trying to get past O'Neill. Collard in the BMW. These two don't touch, boys. They had an incident at Donington last time. They've got through their cleaning this time. Right behind them, though, there's Tom Onslow Cole in the Golf, and he might have a go at getting past Paul O'Neill. He does have some turbocharged power, and although the Golf isn't the fastest car in a straight line, it's got some good torque out of the corners, and that's what Tom Onslow Cole's going to try and use here. So out of the complex they come. We're back on board with McDowell as he chases after Andrew Jordan. Up ahead of them, the two Hondas of Matt Neal and Gordon Shedden. But let's not forget that Jason Plato is still leading this race, despite that safety car period, which I thought would put him under major pressure, Tim. Plato's still able to open up a second, more or less, over Matt Jackson.
Well, he got most of that on the restart, although Jackson was there. Oh, now down the inside, also Cole into Church. He's going to make this stick, I'm sure.
That was brave stuff.
And Jeff Smith trying to get through as well. They've hung out to dry Onslow Cole, and in front of them, who's that's gone wide? That must have been Gillam, I think.
Yeah, maybe kicking up the dust. Jeff Smith just coming up the inside of O'Neill here, and Paul O'Neill can't do anything. I think he has to cut in behind him once again, and he does get over just in front of Andy Neat in the Ford. Andy in 14th place at the moment as they come across the line. Can he get past the Chevy? It's looking pretty good for him yet. He's able to power past and use that horsepower just to gain the advantage. But here comes Paul O'Neill. The car is quick through Allard, and he's going to try and come back at him as they come up towards the complex. He's going to try and go for the inside line. Oh, it's tight. They give each other space. Neat had to leave the door open. He saw O'Neill coming, gave him space, and O'Neill's reclaimed the place.
Yeah, good racing between those two. Space given where it was needed and no contact made. And Griffin's right on the back of these two, sniffing some blood as well.
That's right, so it's all happening, isn't it? Jason Plato is still the race leader here. We're on lap 12 out of 18. There are a few laps to go, of course. We've had safety cars, so that adds a couple of laps to the race distance. Jackson is still second. Boardman is still gamely holding on to third place, you know. Then James Nash, then the two Hondas of Neil and Shedden. Then you're riding on board Andrew Jordan here in 7th. You're looking back at Alex McDowell in the Chevrolet. Tony Gillam is in 9th. Rob Collard is in 10th. Onslow Cole is in 11th. Then it's Smith, O'Neill, Neat and Griffin, as we've seen, all fighting away. McDowell can't quite get any closer here to the back of Andy Jordan's car, and all of them still trying to chase after the leaders. Plato has an advantage of 1.3 seconds now over Matt Jackson as they come across the line. So Plato's car, there's no doubt about it, is working well. Question is, will the safety car period have allowed Plato to cool the tyres off sufficiently that he should be able to look after them to the end?
Yeah, I think they'll all make it to the end. I mean, I say that, but they should all make it till the end. It will have helped everybody, and it's cooler now in the day anyway. It's now obviously 5:40, and it's pretty late in the day. The tyres and the temperature of the track, crucially, are much lower. There is Plato with a comfortable gap, can drive his nice steady lines. A little bit of the front bumper just hanging off there, but no problem. Boardman still in a very good third place after that slightly awkward first lap. He's actually in a podium position, which would be great for the special tuning team.
Yeah, he'll still be kicking himself for that start, though. He just did not get off the line as expected, and he's usually been a quick starter in the past, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's an inconsistent starter. He either gets it really good or makes a bit of a Horlicks of it, but he can do great starts.
On board with McDowell chasing after Andrew Jordan, and Jordan not able to quite make the progress, but we did hear that maybe he had a little bit of damage on the car, so maybe this is a bit of a damage limitation exercise in scoring points now for Jordan. He's going to perhaps break his run of podium finishes, but he won't mind too much as long as he gets something out of the race, and currently he still sits in 7th.
Yeah, I mean, if the water temperature is high, there's nothing you can do as a driver actually to bring that down. It doesn't help if you short shift. In fact, it probably makes it worse on a turbo car because you use the torque more. So there's nothing he can really do. The only thing that would hurt him is if he was running behind another car. At least he's in clean air.
Yeah, he's got as much air going to the rather blocked radiator grille as he can. But McDowell is right there with him again. Look at how much McDowell closed up under braking. This fairly natural concertina effect into that section, and Jordan knows that, and it's not letting him rattle him. He's just allowing McDowell to get a bit closer, but then when he can get the power down, he is doing so.
Yeah, I mean, that's about the agility of the cars. Remember, the turbo cars, charged cars, much heavier at the front, so their change of direction through a chicane like that is much harder to achieve. And you can see clearly there the normally aspirated Chevrolet Cruze was much more nimble through the change of direction.
Yeah, that's right. But now we get onto the fast sweeping stretches, and that's where the Vauxhall can outpower the Chevrolet. He flips that inside curve quite hard this time, kicks up the dust. Always brave through there, no doubt about it. But Jordan McDowell running 7th and 8th. Big gap up ahead of them now through to Gordon Shedden. Who's that moving up? Is that Smith and Collard again battling away? I think it is. The BMW and the Vauxhall. Collard just ahead of Smith. And yeah, staying there. And Smith pops it over the curb. Really having a good old go, all of these guys. Oslo Cole at the back of that next two. Dear, Jeff Smith just kicking the dust up.
Yeah, we used to have a dip, didn't they, on the exit of Woodcote Silverstone called Weaver's Dip after James Weaver, because he used to drop the wheel of his 635 BMW in there. We need to name that Thruxton Dip something. I don't know if it'd be Smith Dip. That doesn't sound quite so romantic, I know, but yeah, it's good stuff. And I tell you what, Tony Gillam going really well, because he is on, there he is, just in shot there, in front of Onslow Cole, and Gillam's in 9th, and he needs a top 10 result, because he goes race by race trying to get a sponsorship. I gather his deal for this race was only done at 5 to 5 on Thursday evening with Triple Eight, so he needs a good result.
Yeah, well, he's been pretty good at getting into the points, as Gillam. I have to say, of the newcomers in this year's championship, there's no doubt that Tony Gillam has been consistently fast. He's got the Golf behind him. Here comes Jeff Smith on Collard again. Nothing Collard could do about it there. Jeff Smith just had superior speed. It's all about whether Collard's BMW can get it back again. Oh, and somebody's really kicked up the dust, but I don't think anyone's gone off. It's just that they've run a little wide coming out of church, and a big cloud of dust being kicked up and being whisked along by the wind here. There is the car of Jason Plato. Just a little bit of damage on the front bumper there.
It's only a blanking plate that's dropped out. Nothing serious, nothing important. As long as it doesn't fall off, you run over it and get a puncture. I wouldn't want to jinx him, obviously.
Of course not, of course not.
You know, that's about the worst that could happen.
I bet he's feeling a bit nervous at the moment anyway, bearing in mind what happened to him earlier.
Yeah, I'm sure, but he'll be a little... They would have backed off the camber. He's had a clear race this time, so he's driven his own pace, and I'm sure he'll be fine. This is on board with Nash. Following Bourman, that battle for 3rd place, and the both of them are very close to Jackson as well. Jackson on looking good for a 2nd place. That big slide we saw Jackson have in the second race through Church was as a result of deranged rear suspension. He'd had that little touch on the complex in the first corner, and it skewed the rear tyres, so that's why he was struggling with it, but it looks much more stable this time.
Yeah, it looks a bit easier to drive now, doesn't it, than it did then. So Jackson's definitely done very, very well here to come through to 2nd place, having started in 5th place. And that was all pretty exciting as well. Tom Boardman still holding on to 3rd position though, as James Nash continues to pile on the pressure, but he's running out of time. As they come around this time, they'll complete 16 laps. Oh, and Boardman again, a bit of weavy under braking there, through into the left-hand part of the chicane. And James Nash still keeping that pressure on. 2 laps to go then, and Nash not giving up on the hunt here. He's followed by Matt Neal and Gordon Shedden. Look at this slide from Jeff Smith a moment ago.
Oh, he had a little bit. Oh, he had a bit of a go at it. And that's not quite as graceful as Bournemouth, but still pretty good effort.
Yeah, good 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
on that one.
7.5 out of 10.
So there's Matt Jackson. You know, Matt Jackson's not been able to run away in 2nd. He's still got Bourman and Nash behind him. Still the 2 Hondas. I wonder how much of the Honda's got in reserve. Anything here, Tim? Do you think that they can pile a bit more pressure on?
Well, if Matt Neal gets a clear chance, he would take it, but he's not going to push it. He'll be very happy with points for 5th place, carrying maximum ballast, and that's a good result for him. I mean, obviously Plato has won it, but Plato isn't his biggest threat at the moment.
No, that's right. Plato, though, will be very relieved to get back onto winning terms with this one. If it stays like this is, he's still got to hang on, of course. The man who won the first 2 rounds of the championship at Brands Hatch, but since then has had an absolutely miserable time with a puncture, a rollover at Donington, and then a points recovery in race 3, and then a puncture again here today in the first race, fighting his way through race 2. Plato always a fighter though, and if he's given half a chance, which he has been by the reverse grid here today, he will take it with both hands. He goes on to his final lap now with a lead of 1.8 seconds. He's maintained that gap pretty consistently throughout the last few laps, and it does look as though Plato's going to be able to hang on here. Jackson there in 2nd in the airways forward, then the 2 black cars, the Seat of Bourman and the Vauxhall of Nash.
Yeah, I think the battle is going to be for 3rd place if there is likely to be any change. 1st and 2nd look pretty secure, but look at the battle for 3rd. It's on board with Nash again behind Bourman, who is in that 3rd at the moment.
Yeah, can Boorman hold on? You know, this would be a good result for Tom Boorman. It would be his best result of the season. A podium finish would be a really big result for this small team. Can they hang on for this? But Nash is still pressurising, and Nash wants that final podium spot. We heard how confident he felt before the race, and again Boorman bounces the curb, gets a bit sideways. Is he going to hold on here?
Well, he kept his foot down, and that's what's given him a little bit of a lead going down to Church. As long as he gets a good clean run through Church, he'll be fine for that final podium.
Out of Church they come then. It's still Matt Neal tucked in behind them as well. He might throw something at it on the last run towards the chicane, but here comes Jason Plato. He has driven a superb race, as you would expect from the reigning champion, a former winner of the Thruxton race in the past. He took Seat's first ever win here some years ago, but it's a Silver Line Chevrolet victory for Jason Plato in the final race of the day. Matt Jackson finishes second. Boorman takes his first ever British touring car podium in the main class. If you don't count the production class, so well done to Tom Boorman. Brilliant result for him. James Nash takes fourth. Matt Neal finishes fifth. Then Gordon Shedden is sixth. Jordan seventh. McDowell eighth. And then Tony Gillam, Tom Onslow-Cole and Jeff Smith. And Collard actually lost out just at the end there. I'm not sure what happened, but Collard dropped to 13th place in the end, and he did not manage to continue that battle with Jeff Smith. But Plato, well, as we said, you give him half a chance and he will always grab it, and that's what he's done here today, Tim.
Yeah, a perfect start to the final race. He knew that was his chance to get another win and maximum points, and he took the opportunity and drove very well. I bet he was a bit nervous every time he braked into the chicane though, but he managed it, and the Chevrolet RML team did a great job to win.
Yeah, another good repair job for them today, because remember that car was quite badly damaged. This is what happened between Smith and Collard. Remember, we've been watching this for quite a while now. Smith went in a bit deep the chicane, then what happened? Oh, Collard got very sideways.
Yeah, but he's going to get passed by Andy Neat across the line for 12th place.
So he lost a place just on the line. Yeah, you're right. The gap tiny between them, but he lost a position on the line. But he's fought hard. Matt Jackson's pulled over on the slowdown lap. He finished second. So what's gone on there, do we think?
Oh, I don't know, but clearly he was had a problem during the race, unless he's run out of fuel, which is very unlikely. But he must have been managing something. Maybe it was higher temperatures or something. But yeah, he's pulled off straight after the finish line.
Well, the marshals, congratulations drivers, who've done actually a very good job today, very clean. Donington got a bit messy, a bit scrappy at the end. I felt after that third race, come on guys, sort it out. But I feel as though they've driven well here this weekend, clean, hard racing.
We've had some fantastic side-by-side racing, lots of overtaking, some real high-speed drama. But as you say, everybody's been respectful. I mean, there's been the odd incident, but that's close racing. But yeah, I think you're right. At Donington, you felt like things were getting a bit out of hand. But here, the level of professionalism amongst everybody on this fastest circuit has been fantastic.
Yeah, good to see. And Plato, well, he's got some recompense for what has been a difficult few races for him. The results, he's Jason Plato taking his third win of the season ahead of Matt Jackson in second, and a brilliant first podium for Tom Boorman in the Seat Leon. James Nash finished fourth ahead of the two Hondas of Matt Neal and Gordon Shedden, with Jordan in seventh place, just beating off the Chevy of Alex McDowell. Tony Gillam was ninth, and Tom Onslow-Cole again in the points in the Golf. Jeff Smith 11th ahead of Andy Neat and Rob Collard, who just lost out on the line there. Paul O'Neill was 14th ahead of Liam Griffin, John George, Nick Foster, Chris James, and then non-finish, I'm afraid, for Tom Chilton and indeed for Frank Rathel. So disappointment for them. Well, the cars all making their way back into pit lane. Of course, it has still been an extremely good day from the Honda camp, because Matt Neal will go away from Thruxton leading the championship. He has been managed to move up the order, and although he might not have come through to a podium finish in that one, he did finish in fifth place, so extremely useful points indeed. All the guys just clambering out of their cars now, which have worked pretty hard on the high-speed sweeps here at Thruxton, Tim.
Yeah, they have, and they've got 3 weeks now before the next race, so some time to reflect on what they've done in the first 3 races and come up with some improvements. We're seeing improvements from everybody. Plato out of the car. Nicky Butler from Dunlop's taken the tyre temperatures already. Straight away he's come in, has to replace the steering wheel, just like Formula 1, or you get fined, and he'll be delighted.
Yeah, what a track this has been for him over the years. Lots of ups and downs for Jason Plato. Lost, of course, the title very narrowly to Fabrizio Giovanardi here a few years ago after he'd suffered some burns. But he's had a great result, and that has been at least a good finish to the day for him. But It's Matt Neal who will go away from Thruxton, perhaps the happiest of all. The Honda Racing entry has got the lead in the championship. They've all got a little bit of a break now. They can think about their setups, think about how they're going to approach the next race in the championship, which will be Alton Park. I hope you can join us again for more British touring car action. From us for now, we'll leave you with a picture of the winners from today.